Hello everybody, it is Friday. Again, it's Friday all day long. Come in, come in, come in. Hello Connie. Good to see you. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing great. Hello, Jill and Sharon and Terry. Good to see you guys. It's Friday. It is a bright, bright, sunshiny Friday here. I'm glad to be here on a Friday. I haven't been here for what, 2 weeks? Crazy. Crazy. So sorry about last week. Yeah, last week was unexpected situation. Sometimes that happens. Signa, hello. Good to see you. Yeah, it was Friday was not fun. It was not fun. So we're going to do some more relatives today. I made some copies. So we're going to play with some copies. And we'll see what happens. Gray and 47. Ooh. Yes. I don't know what the temperature is. Let's find out. I have a phone. Let's find out. It is 53 here today, but it is so sunny. I'll tell you what, this time of year, I don't know if you guys have this issue, but this time of year the sun is in such an odd position in the sky for my eyes, you know, that it, oh, that wasn't what I meant to cut out. That's okay. Yes, hello. Sometimes my brain goes on a hold. Oh well, we have some extras. The sun gets in that position where it's, I guess it's because it's low in the sky. Oh my goodness, it is so bright. It is so bright for my eyeballs. Hi Ruth, good to see you, my friend. And Barbara Clark, hello, hello. Good to see you guys. So come on in. Let's see, are these the same? Let me see. No, these are bigger. Okay, that's all right. Just getting myself organized a little bit, I hope. Good to see you guys. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. You had swarms of birds? Wow. Hi, Joan. Hi, Athena Ducky. I like your name, Athena Ducky. So we're going to take a look at these, and then we'll play around with what I have, and then we'll just see what happens. How's that sound? Sound okay? Celsius in Norway. Winter is coming next week. Ooh. You like the relatives from Monday? Well, we're going to play with them. We are going to play with them a little bit today. See if I can get my organizational skills happening. Sometimes my organizational skills are not all they're cracked up to be. You know, I'm living in two places. That causes quite an interesting dilemma. Not a dilemma, it's just an interesting way to do things. So in case you don't know, what I'm talking about, what Jill and I were talking about, is that we're talking about the goofy relatives, I call them. They're just faces. And we did some on Monday. And I have taken a bunch of them to make copies with. That's what I'm trying to organize here. So we'll see how we do. Okay, let's see if we can get this together. The ones that I did on Monday. So here they are. Let me scooch in a little bit so you can see a little bit more. Okay, here we go. All right, so these are the relatives that we did on Monday. And I finished, well, didn't quite finish, but I almost finished detailing them. I did get the details with the pen done, pencil and pen. So that's what we have here. These are they start out as blobs. Let me see. This is total inspiration from Carla Sondheim from a class that I took with her years and years ago, and then I took off in my, as you do, you just sort of take off in your own direction. So these just start out as watercolor blobs, like all of these, and this one. Okay, so they're just blobs of watercolor. You let them add a dot at the right moment, hopefully, for the cheek color, so it kind of softly blends out. That's kind of the trickiest part of the whole thing. Sometimes they don't blend real well. Sometimes they blend a little weird, but you just got to be okay with it. Then I usually get a pencil. Get my microphone over here where you could actually hear me. Then I take a pencil and begin drawing whatever it is that I want to draw. In this case, I added the hat afterwards. I knew I was going to look for a specific hat shape, and so I did that afterwards, which, by the way, don't think that you have to draw these all up out of your head. You can go to, of course, you can go Google, hats. Of course, you can, if you're good at making stuff up, then make it all up yourself, right? Or you can go look for color books. This is a great little color book. And I got it probably at Barnes & Noble. I'm sure that's, Better Homes and Gardens Special. I don't know where I got it, truthfully. And I just looked through here, and there's all kinds of hats. Now, you can either draw them just by looking at these for inspiration, or you can take those and shrink them down to the right size and trace them off and transfer the tracing onto look at all those hats. You can transfer the tracing onto your relatives using a piece of graphite paper, or you can just use these as inspiration, which is what I do. I just look at them and I just play with the inspiration that I see here. I just passed a whole bunch of hats. Where did they go? Here. And so they give you, something like this will give you the different perspectives also. So it's a good, hey, shoe. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So something like this, you don't have to, but I also like the cats, Speaking of cats, Chance sends his regards, and he is so sorry that he's not joining us today. He's over in his new house. I will show you his new room, which he loves. By the way, he's already thrown up on the bed. Of course he has. Of course he has, because that's what he does. He is here. He is enjoying a lap. He's feeling very comfortable in a lap in his new digs. So he's even, I think, gained a little bit of weight, which is good, because you know. Here is Miss Muppet, who is here with me today. But there she is on one of her 2 dog beds, which she sort of likes and sort of doesn't. You never know. Hello, Purple Nana Linda. You know, she goes through stages where she's not very happy about having to stay on a dog bed. She kind of resents that a little bit, because here she has a couch to herself, but the house is big enough that she's got to be contained, because she's not trustworthy. Muppet is not trustworthy. She is like having she's like having a puppy at this stage of her life. Here's Chance in his environment. He sits on his own bar stool between us when we're eating because he wants to be part of the action. Of course he does, right, you guys? Doesn't that sound like Chance? And let's see. I have another picture of him on his very own bed. Let me see if I can find it. You'd think that I would have this all pulled up for you, wouldn't you? Yeah, not so much. Maybe I didn't. Oh, yeah, I know I took pictures of him. Hold on just a minute. I know. This is so professional, you guys. So professional. Yep. Here he is on one of the other beds, and he was enjoying looking out, you know, taking a look out the window, because the beds are right under the windows at this moment. And so he thinks that's pretty cool. He has his own Afghan that he can, 2 of them. And so he has managed to puke on one. The cat. I tell you, the cat is a mess. I do have another picture of him, and just give me a second. I think I can find it. If not, I'm not going to worry about it for now. We'll look. No, I can't find it right now, so I'm not going to worry about it. Anyway, that's where Chance is. Hello, Gray. Hi, Rhonda. I know they're doing. Hello, Amalia, and anybody. Hi, Michelle. Anybody that I didn't see, welcome and hello. So anyway, let's go back to relatives, okay? So Chance, I just wanted you to know that Chance sent his deep and abiding hello, and he misses you, but not enough to ride in the car to come back over here. Okay, so after you do the sort of start the penciling in, you know, and you add things like hats and stuff like that, and you don't have to pay any attention to what's going on up here, or you can use that and incorporate it into the design of whatever's going on. No, just one. We just have Chance. Charlie died a couple of years ago. Yeah, so just Chance. And so then from there, then I just start detailing them with pen, black pen, and then these I've added some colored pencil. You can go in with watercolor, you can use watercolor pencils and activate it. You can use anything, or just, you know, regular pencils. Here's another one that I just stuck a hat on top of his head that I painted in later. Okay, so that's the process. So this is what we did on Monday. You know, sometimes there's 2 things that I do, 3 things I do when I can't figure out what to do for you guys. 1 is mandalas, of course. 2 is relatives. 3 is something with the sewing machine. So there you go. Anyway, so this is what we did on Monday. We just did all these watercolor blobs on here and then forced them dry with the heat gun, which is not ideal. It's better if you let them dry naturally. And then I went back. Hey, Janet M. Young, good to see you. I just saw your name in the chat. And so then I come back and just start detailing them with pens and pencils. A lot of times I'll use pencils, and then sometimes add more watercolor for, you know, their accessories, or sometimes I'll just let it be pen and ink like this, and I may come back in with something else and add some more stuff to it. You know, like he's got a pretty good flyaway hair going on up here, but you know, he is what he is. All right, so there are the ones that we did on Monday. So I'm going to put them up here so you can just take a look at them. Will they stay like this? I never know. These are done on watercolor paper, 140-pound inexpensive watercolor paper from Michaels. And these are not totally finished because like their eyes don't have all the sparkle dots and stuff, but there you go. And then this is another bunch that I did. And so I did these, tried to do them differently than other ones that I've done. So if you want to grab any screenshots for ideas, you can do that. These are all just at the penciling in stage. If you want screenshots, and look, that looks like he has a big red nose. That was really supposed to be his cheeks, but they ran together to make a, you know, he's real embarrassed, I guess, huh? So there you go. And I just let the watercolor blobs tell me what they want to be. You know, like this, I turned into braids. At first, I was going to make a coonskin cap, you know, like this one that I did. This one is a coonskin cap, but he had too many tails, so I turned him into braids and gave him a baseball cap. So that's a baseball cap from the side. Here's one kind of from the front, or some goofy hat. I loved how this expression came out. It's a girl. This guy looks like a beret, you know, beret wearing artist. Drunk uncle, yeah. I like this guy. I don't know. I think it's a guy. Seems like it would be a guy. We'll add some pen to these here in a second. Or not. Yeah, just so if you want to do any screenshots for any ideas, you're welcome to do that. Okay? So there you go. Those are just penciled in. All right. Then Signa would like to know what pen you use. For these, I typically use a PN. You can use any pen that works for you, honestly. Usually I use the plastic nib, which is the PN, the Pigma Micron PN. It's the plastic nib in black. Another one that you can use is this one. I like this pen, the Identa pen. It has 2 points. This one is a little on the chunky side for some of the little details on these. And then it also has this other side. And I think this is actually a laundry pen. Permanent, indelible, etc. Anyway, that works well. These, sometimes the PNs sometimes will clog on the tip because the watercolor wants to clog them. And if that happens, then I always have a piece of paper handy. Let's see, what did I do here? Well, a piece of paper or like one of these Post-it notes. I'll have this, you know, sticking down on the surface, and then I constantly go back and clean off the tip. This one's getting dry. It's running out of ink anyway. But the watercolor can clog up your pens. So I have the best luck with the PN personally, but you can use the other ones. You know, you can use the felt The felt tips, the micron felt tips, this one's about worn down to the nub. Or you could use the Sharpies, but all of those tend to run the risk of clogging up. So you just kind of, you can also use a Jelly Roll black pen. It just, you know what? Here's the thing. Pick out some black pens, make some of these, and try them and see which one you like the best. So there you go. Hello, Terry. Hey, Peg. Good to see you. I watched your video, I think it was this morning, about the boxes, the sketch boxes. That's a good deal you got for those. That was a good deal. That was cool. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you about, this is just ideas for relatives. The next thing I wanted to show you before we go back and kind of play with some of these is to take them, I talked to you about taking them to a copy place. And this group came from, let's see, this one. Yeah, okay. So we did these one time, a long time ago, where I took a piece of watercolor paper, I set it up so that it was ready to turn into a zine. Okay. Your pilot pen does not clog up. Yeah, well, that could be. Yeah, and I have some other pens around here too. I have an assortment of black pens, you know, and you know, even my experience is they're all going to get gunky at some point. So, one of the other ones, let me get one of the other pens that may be the one she's talking about. Of course, now I can't put my hand on one. Let me see if there's one. There's, I have a whole bunch of them, but I don't know exactly where they are. This is one that Janet M. Young uses. This is the Hybrid Technica 03. This is a good one. This is not a felt tip. It's a ballpoint. I have another one that is the multi... I don't know what it is. Anyway, it's also a ballpoint, but the tip is a little bigger than this one. Sometimes they are laying on my desk, but life is not well organized in my world right now, so I can't show you the other one. I thought I could put my hand right on it, but you know what? I can't. Oy, anyway. Your hands don't incorporate enough to do much fussy cutting. Ah, there you go. Okay, so this I set up like a zine. Okay, so I pre-folded the paper. This is I don't know what size this is. Is this just a regular... Okay, this is a regular 9x12 sheet of watercolor paper. And then I folded it, you fold it in half, you fold it in half, and you fold it in half, or in quarters. And then you cut from 1/4, you cut across 2 sections the long way. And then you pick it up and fold it. There's 900 jillion videos online for these. And you fold it up, and it makes a little, what's called a zine, or a little magazine, okay? And so you have a little magazine of your own relatives that you can do whatever you want to do with. You can caption them, you can do whatever. But I did this ahead of time so that I could do the size for these little pages, because these are typically a little bit bigger than the ones that I do for you guys. Like, where did I just put it? Like these. These are smaller, okay? These I'm intending to do something with note cards. If you're going to do something like this with the zine, you have to know which way that they're going to be. And you can see these are this way around and these are this way around, okay? And as long as I fold it the same way all the time, then my guys and girls are going to come out right side up. Now, if you don't care, you know, you can let them go upside down. It's fine, okay? So there's that set. And then I have another one that I did. Let's see if I can put my hand on that. That's this one. And this is similar in that I decided how they were going to be and which was going to go on the front cover. This is not a good idea. I did this so that was going to end up to be my front cover on this one. But if I don't want that to be the front image, then you got to put something in here. Or put in one of those word quotes or whatever, okay? And this poor thing, she got something. I'm going to have to draw a heart or something on her mouth. Look, I don't know what happened. Her face stuck to something. Poor thing. Probably stuck to some paint because it looks like there's a glob of paint right there. That's probably what happened. Anyway, the other thing that I did on these is I numbered the pages in pencil, and the numbers may or may not show up when you copy them. The other thing that happens is when you go to copy these, because these are 9 by 12, if you go to a regular copy store or office supply store that will do copying for you, the size is going to come out a little bit different. So they're going to have to resize them, size them down. You see the difference in size from this one, the original here. You just have to be aware of that. That's going to happen. So if you copy them, the colors are not going to reproduce exactly. And you're going to have to cut the slit, because you have to have that in order to make the pages if you want to do it out of one single sheet. So you're going to have to cut them, fold them, and if you want to cut off this extra bit, you know, take that into consideration as well. But the colors are not going to be exact, but you know, it's reasonable. It's quite reasonable, really. So you can see the color. This is the original, this is the copy. Original, copy, original, copy. So they're really quite a reasonable rendition. This, you really see the watercolor. You don't see the watercolor blobs quite as much. He's a little more embarrassed there than he is in the original one. Hello, Dorothy. Okay. So you can do whatever you want to do. It's just an idea for you. This is done on the regular color paper. I just got these done this morning. This is done on regular color copy paper at the UPS store. So it's a laser copy print. You can also have them copied on cardstock. So here's another one. This is another copy that is in process. This I did just because I wanted to have these guys. But this is done on cardstock. It's a lightweight cardstock. I would say this paper is 20 to 20, maybe 20 pound paper. And I would say that this cardstock is less than 60 pound paper. But it's slightly heavier. So you can do that as well. Okay? Okay. Any questions? Put them in all caps if you have questions. All right. Now, the only thing you got to do is make sure, if you want to copy these again, make sure that you keep your copies separate, your originals separate from the copies. And like these, you can see that I just left the pen and ink on this side, and this side I did, you know, color them, paint them in or whatever. But you can do whatever you want. Okay? All right. So that is an idea for those. Alrighty, so, and here is the original. I did want to show you this. This is the original for this piece, for this. This is the copy. This is the original. The background on this was just a watercolor, a blend of watercolor or acrylic. I don't know which, quite frankly, in the background. And then I came over the top of it and dropped on some more blobs. And the reason I did that was so that I had background behind my people and behind these blobs for flower shapes. That doesn't reproduce quite as effectively when it's copied, color copied. But you know what? It's okay, especially if you're going to cut them out anyway. So there's that. So you don't get too picky about how they reproduce. If you're going to be real picky about that, then just paint the originals time after time after time. Okay? Okay. All right. Alrighty. So, they're going to have to also reduce the size a little bit because their pages are 8.5 by 11 in the United States, and if you're working with a typical 9 by 12 piece of watercolor paper, you either need to cut it down ahead of time or realize that they're going to have to decrease it when they copy it. Now here's some funny things on this one. I think I printed these off myself here, I think, on my color printer, which was an inkjet. And the reason I think it's that is because of the following. Let me show you. So this is from this one, okay? And so when I printed them out, I enlarged them because for whatever reason I wanted bigger images. I don't remember why, but that's what I did. Okay, so can you see her face? She's got lines going down her face. This is when your inkjet printer is getting ready to do terrible things. Okay, there you go. It's getting worse. Poor thing. She's feeling a little green around the gills. And his hat is getting worse. And so sometimes the color copiers just don't, you know, home color copiers, home printers sometimes don't reproduce the way you want them to. But that could actually be kind of funny. You could send this one, if you knew somebody that had been to a party and had gotten a little too crazy, you could send that to them, you know, saying, hope you're not too green around the gills or something. You know, I have a warped sense of humor like that. Warped. Warped. Yeah, the quality is going down. Okay. All right, so what shall we do here? Let's just kind of take a look here. All right, sorry, I'm just trying to get myself organized. Sort of organized. All right. Now, if you like to fussy cut, which I go in spells where I like it and sometimes I don't, what I will do, here's a color copy right here. Okay, so this is a color copy from the things that we did Monday night. So this is the original right here. We have lots of relatives. Apparently, I'm from a very big family. Okay. And this is the copy. So you can see that, I mean, the quality is not bad, but, you know, it's not perfect, but I don't expect it to look, if I want it to look like watercolor, then I'm going to paint them. So what I do when I'm going to fussy cut, and this is done on the cardstock. Okay, it's a light, very lightweight cardstock, I would say. I will go through here and I will chunk them out like this. I never work, I should not ever say never, but I try not to work on big sections of paper when I'm cutting things out. I chunk it down like this. Into manageable sizes, and the more that you can help yourself by getting rid of the extra paper, I think it makes it much more doable and much easier for cutting them out. So let's say that I'm going to watch TV or try to ignore the news or whatever. Because it's one of the things that Elton loves and I hate. He loves the news. I hate the news. He enjoys politics. I hate politics, you know. So I find ways that I can still enjoy being around, but not have to be absorbed in the process of whatever it is that I don't like to listen to. So I usually have my earbuds in. I usually have one earbud in. And then I sit and I can kind of be aware of what's going on. Sometimes I do this with sports things like football too. I can kind of be aware of what's going on, but I'm also listening to something that I want to listen to. And then I try to have my hands busy because otherwise I'll go to sleep. And then, yeah, that doesn't always go over real well with people. Doesn't always make everybody happy, does it? Okay. So then I sit there and I just start cutting these out, and then I'll come back here and I'll decide how much detail I want to give these. But I don't cut right on the outline of the person. Okay, so I just do this. I cut them, kind of rough cut them. Exactly, Joni. That's exactly correct. Yep. Okay, so there we have this one. And then I just sit there with my little, in my little happy place and I cut stuff out, you know. And so then I'll make a whole raft of these little characters. Or I did put as the thumbnail for the video today, there is an example of our stickers that you can get on Teespring. And I hope to do some new ones here at some point. Do some new stickers. Although I have to say, I enjoy using my old ones. They are not die cut. I don't want anybody to think that they're going to buy that sticker sheet and they're just going to peel off like nice little die cuts, because they're not. That's not how Teespring does them unless they've changed something. So you're going to have to get out your scissors and you're going to have to kind of fussy cut around those, and they really are not hard to do. But if you don't like fussy cutting, then, you know, don't do it. Don't torture yourself. Okay, so I can do these fairly quickly. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. Let's do this one. This lady with the bird on her head. Poor thing. She was having a bad day when that happened to her, wasn't she? And if you just keep your scissors kind of still and maneuver the paper, you're going to get a better result, I think, than if you try to maneuver the scissors around. So my scissors are staying kind of still. And you'll notice my left hand, because I am right-handed, my left hand is what is moving the paper around. But I do, and if I decide that I don't want all this stuff here, then I'll just cut it off, you know? I just cut it off. Just because I drew a line, you're the boss of your lines and you're the boss of your scissors. If you decide that you don't want to have all that stuff, all the extra lines or whatever, then don't. Just cut them off. You're the boss. And down here at the bottom where you're at the base of the torso, or not the torso, but like the base of the neck going into the torso, just make it an uneven kind of line, just like that. All right, now the next thing you get to decide is if you want to put some ink on them or not. So we'll do one with, and we'll do another one without. I don't know where my sponge is. Hold on a second. Here it is. Yeah. Okay. So I like the archival inks. I tend to use blue, the cobalt blue. I don't know why. It's just because I like it. This is pretty well dry, so it's not a very. It's not going to be a very dark inking around. And you certainly don't have to do this if you don't want to. I think it kind of gives them a little bit of character, and I'm not real picky about it. And whether you do this or not is completely up to you. That's why if you make lots of color copies, you can try different things to see what you like. Okay, here's one without the blue, one without and one with, you know, and you get to judge which way do you like it. I like them both ways, so it's just totally up to you. The scissors I'm using they're Fiskars. These are little Fiskars scissors. They're a sewing scissor. I don't know. I'll use whatever there is. This is also a Fiskars scissor. I'll fussy cut with big scissors and small scissors. I have another pair of cutter bees. I don't know what these are, but these are one of my favorite pairs of scissors. I have two of these somewhere. But I've cut so much crap with these that they don't cut very well anymore. And you go, darn, wish I hadn't ruined those. And I don't know that they're totally ruined, but, you know, they're a little bit. They just don't cut as well as they used to. Okay, so from there, let's get some card bases. And I like these colored card bases, the pre-folded ones. These are from Hobby Lobby, the Paper Studio. These regularly go on sale 40 or 50% off. And that's what I like to use because they're different colors and they're pre-done. And that is great. If you want to incorporate a mat on top of them and get yourself a variety of colored cardstocks, and cut down your mats. So that's probably not a good example. Let's try a different color so you can see it. You're welcome, Shoe. Okay, so I've cut that down and leaving a little border around it. I just think they're more interesting if you have a mat on the card. You can double mat them by, I don't know if I have any double mats here. Let's see. I don't know. Sometimes I'll have a bunch of black ones ready. Now, you can use your imagination here. Sometimes I will do a bunch of black mats like this, either for the top or for the bottom. So just imagine that layered up and then put that on the card. That makes an even nicer card if you want to, but it's completely up to you. Okay, so again, you can decide whether you want to ink around the edges. I'm using just a little piece of cut and dry foam, and they fall apart after a while. They start shedding. You can see it over here on my mat. So when they start doing that, it's time to cut a new piece or use a new sponge from your makeup kit. But then I wouldn't recommend that you use it for makeup again after that, okay? Not a good idea. Unless you want ink on your face that's going to take a long time to wear off. My skin is about back to normal. I don't know if it's totally recovered yet or not, but that's what happened to me last week. I, for some reason, broke out with a rash. Yeah, it was pretty ugly and pretty not fun. Let's use, I just honestly felt too bad to be here. So I wasn't. I ended up having to go to the doctor for the third time, which is not something I do. Okay, if you don't use your HTG for a while, it takes it a while to get warmed up because sometimes it gets picky. You can use any kind of tape you want, and this is where I regularly don't get these on straight. It actually didn't go down too badly for a switch. And then you can take what little person you want to stick on here, and this is where I get very high-tech, super high-tech. Or shall we put this one on here? We'll put him on there because he's inked, okay? And get yourself some, use an old book, old phone book, glue paper, trash paper, printer paper. It doesn't matter what you use. And then you can decide where you want your person to go. And if you have a little place that doesn't want to stick, then give it a little more glue and stick it down. Now, you can always add extra stuff to this. You can add extra embellishments. You can add an extra outline. Just make sure that it is loose and free so that it's not anything, you're not trying to be too meticulous, okay? Don't get too picky about it, but that kind of helps to spread out an image that might otherwise be too small. You can add, width to it. Be sure that you sign your work somewhere. You can sign it wherever you want. And then if you decide you want to add some sort of saying, snark is good. Since Janet M. Young is here, we should put some snark, right? Is this the snarky one? Yeah, it is. It's the snarky one. Here. This is just for Janet. Oh, and happy birthday, Janet. I don't know if you're still here or not, but happy birthday. I think I missed your birthday, but happy birthday anyway. And I don't get real picky about these. These are the Tim Holtz snarky things. I seldom ever put these on anything without reinforcing with glue stick or wet glue or something, because I find that the adhesive on the back of these stickers is not super efficient. Okay, so, and I don't worry too much about where I put it, but there you go. Today was going great until people. Right? Until people. And now you have, I haven't put a whole lot into this little card, but it is a little bit of my artwork. And so then it's, I like making stuff like this, and then I just keep a whole stack of them. And Elton has gotten real good about saying, could you bring some of your cards? And because we need to send some cards, or we need to give something to somebody, and it'd be really nice to use one of your cards. He likes to blow through my cards pretty fast, and I don't do anything fancy. I do most things, I try to do them efficiently. But I also try to amuse myself, I try to amuse myself. Another thing you can do with these that is fun too is you can take the same pen you're doing this stuff with, or a different one, doesn't matter, and put a little border around it. You can use a different size pen. Use the same one that you do the rest of them with. And then I like to come back and wherever there's room, you can't resist a good dot, you guys. You can't. This is that pin that was just about, I've worn the tip off. It's still got ink in it, but the nib is just about gone. Okay? And so you can see that just adds just a little bit more of something. It just makes it a little bit more interesting. Another thing you can do is just put a little squiggle butt. Why is it a squiggle butt? I don't know, because I just made it up. And it'll make you laugh, hopefully. So if you ever decide to do these, Barb said I could do squiggle butts. Just don't tell your kids, okay? So just add a little something else to it, and wherever you feel like you need it, okay? And there you go. There's your card. Okay. That's true, Ruth. That is true. Okay. So there you go. There's your guy. He's got a signature on it. Oh, the other thing that I normally do when I'm going to use them, I've learned not to do it at the time that I make them. Okay. But I do it at the time I'm going to use the card. Then I will put the date. Usually just the year. I will stick it on there somewhere so that the person I'm giving it to thinks, I just did this card especially for you, which may or may not be true. Might be true, might not, right? But if you date it at the last minute, they're going to think that you just did it. So there you go. Okay? All right. Hey, Sarah. 3 dogs, 2 kids. How are you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. I'm glad to see you. Okay, so there you go. There's one. All right, let's see what else we got. This is where I just end up with this horrendous mess everywhere. But that is the mark of a creative something. Creative, messy mind. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, let's move all these off here. And what shall we do? But let's go back to, we'll talk about 2 things. We'll talk about, what time is it? 2 o'clock. We will talk about these that were partially done that had some flowers on them. And we'll talk about this. We'll ink some of these up. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at these. This is the color copy. Okay, this is the color copy. And so let me get a, let's see if this pen is going to work. You're doing old, Barb? Oh. Oh, that's neat, Joni. She says she can make the stupidest ugly thing, and her hubs will say, you should sell that. That's neat. Yeah, Sarah has. I've watched Sarah through the years with many different dogs, and yeah, they're always fun to see. And Sarah's on Instagram. She does a lot with horses, and so she needs to be 3 dogs, 2 kids, and 6 horses. I don't know how many horses she has, but she needs to have that. Okay, so I'm just going to use a PN here. Let's talk about how to do, these are just blobs of watercolor, which I've turned into mandalas before. If you want to turn them into flowers, you can turn them into flowers. So these were just blobs on the watercolor paper. And this is the original. Okay, this is the original. So I put just dropped some watercolor or acrylic on here. I don't remember which. It's been a long time ago. In the background, so there was just some color in the background, and then added some more once that was kind of dry so it would not spread too far. Then I just added some more color on there. So you can turn them into flowers, you can turn them back into or you can turn them into mandalas. You can do whatever you want. So for example, let's take a look at these roses right here. These 2 little things, they're continuous line roses, and we'll do this one over here. So the way that I start these is, and many people have done these, so this is not a unique or original idea. So you just enjoy the concept and take it and do with it as you will. All right, so start out with a little squiggle in the middle. Don't lift your pen and squiggle, getting bigger, squiggle and squiggle. I usually do about 3. You can't see me. Okay, let me see if I can, let me use a different pen so that this is going to be fatter. But what I did was I'm going to get back on this pen so you can see. So I started in here and I squiggled the center, leave the pen down, squiggle a petal, and a petal. Okay? And then I come up and I squiggle and I stop in the middle of, or close to the middle of a petal, but they're getting bigger. And then I just get bigger. And sometimes the edges get smoother and sometimes they get rougher. And you can make them different sizes, but just don't lift up your pen. Okay? And you can get really fast at doing these. And just because I've run out of watercolor does not mean that I have to stop until I'm done. Okay? And then you're done with, but hopefully you got to see that time. But I normally do them with the pen and my pen is standing up straighter. Then you can add the little little lines coming out from the center into each petal. Just flick some lines. This is where it's handy if you have a pen that's doesn't have a lot of ink, because you can make it kind of gives you the impression of folds in the petals. Make them short and long. Don't make the same number in every petal. But keep them, let them start at the edge of one petal and flick out into the center part of the petal or a little beyond. Okay, so I start at the edge of the previous petal. Okay, and it's very light just simply because this pen is running out of ink. But the point is don't go all the way to the outer edges of each petal. And you don't have to do this. You can do what you want. It's just, I think, kind of a fun little embellishment. This paper that I'm using, which is the color copy paper from the UPS store, is pretty, and this one is the cardstock. And it's pretty smooth. So you need a pen that is going to dry. And so that's one advantage to the either Faber-Castell or the Micron, Pigma Microns. They'll dry. But, you want to kind of keep your hands out of them for a little bit. Be aware of where your hand is leaning, because you might make yourself a smudgy mess if you don't. But always think with each petal that it's coming from the center. Okay, think of it coming from the center, like the lines are radiating out. But keep them light and kind of sketchy. Like so. Okay? But always some edge in the petal that doesn't have anything. And then pick up a different pen that's got a little broader tip. This is the Identa pen. And you can give yourself some pollen dots here and there. Don't strive to make those dots at the end of every line, just a few here and there on each petal. It's kind of a fun detail. It just gives, it just gives more dimension to your little flower. Makes them more interesting to look at. I try to go kind of layer by layer of the petals, because otherwise, and see, I missed a whole bunch right here. Otherwise, I tend to miss petals. If you had stencils or stamps, you could stamp, as long as it was somewhat the right size for your image. You could stamp on top of your images with on top of your blobs with a permanent ink, like an archival. And then you could always add more to your stamp. Okay, so you've got the idea. Then the other thing you can do is come back with a white pen, and you can add more. Like you can see the white over here on this one. So I added white to this one, and that gives it even more interest. So you could do the same thing with the white pen here. This one, I just added a few little dots. There's not even much in the way of lines on that one. So then you could take your scissors, and we'll hope that this is dry enough. So let's take this one, chunk it out. Okay, so chunk it out to start with. And let's take this guy, we'll chunk him out. He's a little bigger than some of the other ones. And so we'll do this one first. And you can always add to these in the future. You can, until you put it in the mail or give it to somebody, it's not done. Okay, so you can do more. You can always add more white, the white dots, or white lines, or, put more of a background behind it on a watercolor paper. Like you could make these mats. Like I showed you the mats that you put on the pre-folded card like this. Instead of making this out of cardstock, make it out of watercolor paper, and then you could put some of these watercolor backgrounds on them. Watercolor washes and stuff, so you could do that, make that your mat instead. Especially if you end up with a bunch of, I don't know about you guys, but I end up with a bunch of random sized pieces of watercolor paper that aren't good for much. And you wouldn't even have to have it as a mat. You could take this is your pre-folded card, and you could take your random, let's say this is my watercolor paper. And so I could take it and do color, washes on it, and then cut it in strips and put, 3 strips on here, and then put your card or your image on top of it, right? Absolutely, isn't it? It's the best part of creativity, because you get in a different mood, different mindset. Nothing's done till it's done. Okay, so then you could say, do I want to put it on the card? The advantage to the colorful card bases is, let's try this one, is that, see how different it looks when you go from one to the other? They help you. The colorful card bases help you immediately. They change, and you just turn them around and look at them until you get it to be a pleasing, whichever way you like to look at it. But they help you by giving you something beneath your image, and you didn't have to work hard. All you had to do is go turn loose of some of your money, and put it on one of the card bases. I love these different colors. And some of the colors I think, oh, I don't know, I don't think I'll ever use that color. You know what? I always end up using them. But see how different they look? Now, okay, what else can you do with this? Let's take this one. Let's not put it on a base. Let's glue this puppy down. This isn't exactly what I had planned to do today, but it's what I'm doing, obviously. It's obviously what I'm doing. Okay, so all right, make sure that your card's opening the way you want it, and let's say that, I don't know, it doesn't make any difference. I'm just going to put it on here this way, kind of, as one of my friends would say, yeah, because she liked things that weren't straight. So put it on kind of yeah, kind of smooth it down. And then what else can you do with this? You can say this isn't a rose. You could say, well, this is some other kind of flower. I don't know what kind of flower it is. It's a made-up flower. It's a Barb made-up flower. And so pick up a pen this is a textured cardstock. Okay, make sure you know where the opening is. Textured cardstock is not going to take the ink the same way that your smooth cardstocks are, and that's okay. And so I'm just going to make this a different kind of flower. I don't know what it is. It doesn't make any difference to me. My dad was the one that knew flowers, and he's dead, so we don't have to worry about his opinion about what the flowers are going to look like. Got it? Okay. And so I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to just drop in a stem. Okay? So you could leave it just like that, or you could give it a leaf. Okay? So you could give it a leaf, or you could give it this pen's a little thick for this. Give it a 3-leaflet leaf. Yeah, like that. Let those connect. If you wanted to give it a little bit of grass down here, just because I really like that look, then let's take a different pen that's not quite so thick. Let me find one. I do like to anchor them at the bottom. If I have something coming off the bottom of a card or whatever, I do like to have it anchored a little bit. And so I will usually flick from the bottom up, flick some grass, or give it some, let them go all different directions, but don't make them come from a central point. Let them come from a line, all right? And then you can come back. You could do this with white pens or whatever. And this is, we're just going to give it some little seed pod things up here. Just, you know. Again, just because it makes it a little bit more interesting. So just give it a little bit of texture. All right? And so it's got something to kind of anchor it at the bottom. Then if you want to further anchor it, get out your ink pad and maybe just ink it across the bottom. Okay, so we've inked it across the bottom. Use your lint roller to pick up your sponge poop. And you could do more into this little leaf if you want. You could add, again, you could add even more to your little rose. Just kind of outline it a little bit. Okay, so it gives it a little more presence. And let's say you want to add some finer veining to your leaf, then just vary the size of your pen tip. So I'm using a finer pen and adding some little finer veins here and there, because it just makes it, it just makes it a little more interesting. And then be sure that you put your name on it. And I'm assuming I'm going to send this out this year, so I put 2024 on there. But sometimes I don't put it where it's even real legible. Another thing you can do is put a few lines up here right under the head of the flower. That will give it a little bit of weight, a little shading, and you can do the same thing on your leaf. You can put a little bit of shading, very, very light lines. To just shade it a little bit and give it a little bit more, just make it a little more interesting, right? And drop a few more little lines coming down so that it just looks a little bit more interesting. Hi, Ray. Hello, Sharon. Hi, Alicia. All right, so there's that. And on this one, I'm not going to put a snarky saying on it unless I change my mind later, which I could. So that's a way that you can use these. That was this blob right here that turned into this thing right here. So just blob them out and then just make something. Or you could turn it into a mandala. We did lots and lots and lots of those also. Okay? Okay. Bye, Joan. Hey, Kathy. All right, so there's that one. All right, so we have those two. I can figure out what I did with the other one. Where did he go? Where did he go? Where'd our snarky one go? Oh, you guys, it's a mess over here. Yeah, it's a mess over here. Somebody needs to come straighten me out. All right, well, he'll show back up here in a minute, hopefully. He's on green. Anybody know where it went? Here it is. Goodness. Okay, so we got these two. Let's do this guy because he's bigger. Let's just see what we can do with him. I'm making these up as we go along, you guys. Just making them up. And you saw that I'm not adding any more color to these, but you certainly could. On this slick paper from, actually his hair needs some work, so we'll do something to his hair. We'll add maybe some ink lines. On this slicker paper, you might have to test out your pencils if you're going to add some detail with pencils. I don't think I would try and use marker with these, like Tombow markers or whatever, unless you just try it and see if it works. I don't know. It might. Who knows? And I just kind of wiggle across the bottom of these so that they don't look too finished at the bottom. All right, let's use this and let's give him a little bit more. Let's give him a little bit more hair. Okay. Because his hair looked like, it looks like it should have a little more something going on than just this big brown bubble on the top of his head, don't you think? And if you want to detail him a little bit more, you could always add more embellishment. Make his stripes more interesting, so you could put polka dots on the stripes. And this is just black pen. If you have other permanent pens, you could certainly do that. And just add a little bit more interest. Okay? So we'll say that's good enough for him. All right, so let's take another card, double folded card base, and let's see, what color do we want to use for him? Maybe brown would work for him. And let's try a card, one of the mats that I have pre-cut. What about okay, we got purple as a choice. We have dark red as a choice. I don't like that. All right, let's try this one with the red on the brown. And that kind of pops him right off that card. So we could put red on there, or let's try this blue. Which one do you guys like best? Or here is black. You tell me which one you guys think is good. There's a black. Black always pops them. Red and brown. Or here's another one. Using yellow. Or see what you can do. You can just start playing with them, and you just start going, oh, but that's not bad, but that's not bad, but that's not bad. Okay. Ruth says orange. Let's take the orange card base and see what that one looks like. Orange and blue with the blue guy, blue shirt guy. That's a maroon color. No, I still don't like that. That is just not working. Okay, let's try. I'm not going to put black on there because it's going to look too Halloween-y. I'm not sure I like the red. I think I like the red. Honestly, I think I like the red on the brown better. Orange on top. I don't have any orange mats cut. Yeah, I don't have any orange mats cut. So it's either just going to be like this. So this is just the card. Okay, so this is just the card with him on the orange card. Red and brown. Okay, I'm sorry, Ruth, you got outvoted. The majority says red on brown. Okay, all right, you guys, we'll play this game some more. I'll cut some more mats so we have more choices. I have a ton of different colors of cardstock. All right, sorry, Ruth, you got outvoted, girl. Sorry. Okay, so let's give this a little bit of ink around the edge. I don't think I told you my scrapbooking store is going out of business. Scrapbooking and mixed media. That's sad. It's where I used to go to book club. I'm sad about that, but her husband is retiring and their kids live in out of state and they want to be able to travel to see their grandkids. I mean, can you imagine such a thing? They want to be able to travel and go see their grandkids. I just can't blame her for that. Okay, so let's get this the right way around. And let's see if I can manage. First of all, let's make sure that this is the right size. It's good enough. Okay, so let's see if we can put this mat on here. You can also decorate your mats, so make a whole bunch of these relatives or flowers or whatever and mount them on the mats. Just mount them on that. And then you have them ready for the future future you to just pick it up. It's all done, and stick it on the whatever the card base is that you want to use. All right, let's see if we can get 2 in a row that are sort of straight. Oh, that's not bad. I must be having a good day. I must be having a good day. I got this one went on pretty straight too. Okay, let's stick this guy on. Yeah, our store, she's been in business for 12 years. Yeah. 12 years. I think she ended up doing more mixed media than scrap. I don't know, though. I'm not sure. She started as a scrapbooking store and then ended up, I think, doing more mixed media. Okay, so let's put this on here, and let's see if we can put this guy on here. Let's put him right about here. Now, when they're bigger, like this guy is, they take up more of the space on the card, which I tend to like. And if they're a little bit off center, oops, oh well, you know, it is what it is. But you don't have to do quite as much, you know, I like the card to be fuller. Oh, another thing you can do, let me do this while I'm here. Remember how I've said, oops, when in doubt, dot? Another thing you can do with these is dot in groups of 3, okay? It just helps if you need to fill space. Just try not to line them up. And do you see how that just adds a little bit of filler to the background? Yeah. And they can be varied in distance from each other. Like so. And then if you squint and look at your card when you think you're done, just squint a little bit and your eye will tell you whether you have any gaps or holes in the background. But it just kind of fills in things a little bit. Okay, so this one, let's snarkify this one. Yep, that's true, Barbara. Absolutely. All right, let's snarkify this one, shall we? All right, let's see what we have. Let's go. I like the ones that are the white print on the black. Let's see. Here you go. I think this one is hysterical. Sometimes you have to be careful who you send the snarky ones to. Whoops. Unless you're Janet M. Young, and then she'll send snark to anybody. Some people are offended by snark. I personally think it's a riot, but nobody enjoys snark any better than Elton. Nobody. Yeah, he is. I think he enjoys life more than anybody I think I have ever met. All right, I'm just reinforcing this adhesive using the art glitter glue because it has a fine tip. Fine as in teeny, not fine as in fine. It's a teeny little tip, a little metal tip. All right, so here you go. All right. I'm not childish. You're just a big duty head. I think it looks good on him. I'm not childish. You're just a big duty head. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. So there's another idea. And we didn't sign it. So let's do that. This time I'll just sign it. I'll sign it like this. It's okay to let your signature be a part of the artwork, people. It's okay to let it be part of it. Okay? I'm not childish, you're just a big duty head. Aren't there a lot of people I'd like to say that to? So send it in a card. Send it in a card, people. Yes. All right, so there's cards. Let's take one of these. This is the color copy. And let's just, let's detail some of these, shall we? Because why not? And this is the color copy. This does not have watercolor on it. It does not have texture. So I'm going to use this, which is an 03, which may be too big for this, but you know, we'll see. Yeah, I have other size pens if I need it. Is Janet still here? What book is the snark from? It's from the snarky, impertinent small talk from Tim Holtz. Yeah, there's other snarky ones out there. Probably the snarkiest of all is Diane Reevely. Sometimes her snark's even a little too snarky for me. They are funny. They are funny. They are funny. Gotta say, they're funny. Okay, so let's go back to these. These are already done in pencil, so I am restricted a little bit by the pencil marks that I've already put on here. So let's see if this... Again, the paper is kind of smooth, so I'm going to have to be careful that I don't lay my hand right in it and let this ink totally dry. And also remembering that I can't go back and erase the pencil lines, so you got to be okay with the marks that are there. All right, so let's give him a comb over, and I'm not going to give him sideburns or anything. I'm just going to let his face be what it is. I am going to outline it though, because I like kind of a scribbly outline. Here's his Adam's apple. His shirt collar. He's got very square shoulders and a shirt front. And that's that. All right, so we'll just let him kind of sit there, hang out, and dry. If you want to make his eyes, you can change the expression by the way you change the ends of the eyes too. All right, now let's go to this guy. He seems like I just do little scribbly kind of triangles. I'll go back when this black ink is totally dry, and I will put a white sparkle dot in his eye, in the eyes. And you know, sometimes sometimes when I'm doing these, words, sometimes I'm not even close to the outline or the color of the watercolor, and I'm okay with that. You know, I'm okay with that. So he's got curly, wild curly hair. And it kind of messy, you know, because he just does. He's kind of got his own thing happening here. Adam's apple, neck, shirt collar. He's got on a tie with his shirt. Okay, so there's that guy. Let's see. Oh, this one will be fun. Okay, this lady, I tend to do this face over and over. Hello, Joyce. I tend to do this face over and over. I don't know why. She shows up a lot. Or some variation of. Like, here's another variation of her right there. See? It's not the same, but she's real similar. I don't know. She just tends to be one of those faces that profiles that shows up. All right. So let's first of all, let's give her her profile. And there's her little sideways looking eye. She's got some eyelashes back here. And she's got an ear. And she's got an earring. And she's got kind of a wrinkly neck going on. And she's got on a collar. And it's kind of got some gathers in it. And I'm going to change the lace on the edge a little bit just because. And I'm going to put, I mean, it's some fancy lace going on here. It's got little picot, you know, maybe it's a tatted lace edge. I don't know. And it's probably one of those kinds of eyelets, you know, that's got the little holes in it. So we'll just put some eyelet there. Okay. Now up here, she's got on a hat. Yeah, she's got on a hat with ribbon tails. You know, it's pretty fancy. And she's got, okay, I shouldn't say this. Okay, you guys cover me on this one, okay? There's a couple of people that I know. I'm not going to say where I know them from. They kind of wear hats like this. Even to this day, kind of wear hats like this. I might have used them as an example. I'm not admitting it. But if anybody asks you, cover me. Okay? Cover me. All right. So up here is one of these little rose things, you know, kind of like continuous line roses. Okay, so there's this little, I mean, I have seen this. Anyway, okay, and so that is kind of the top part of this hat. Okay, and then there's this other part. I know you all have seen this person. I know you have. I know you have. You might go to church. Well, I'm not saying it's from church. You know, it's this thing that flops over the face. You know, it's netting or tulle or something. I'm like, oh, I don't know who thinks that's a good idea, but somebody thinks it is. Somebody thinks it's a good idea. Those will need to have a little bit of color added into those flowers on the head thing. Okay, so here's this guy. Can you see him? Yeah. Okay, and so he's got like this. So there, he's got kind of little eyes, he's kind of got a smile on his face. And he's got his neck goes like this, and he's got an Adam's apple, and he's got like a turtleneck on. And he's got on maybe it's a sweater, I don't know, but he's got on a stripe something or other. Okay, so he's just kind of styling. He thinks he's pretty stylish. And up here he's got on, let's see, he's got on I don't know what it is. It's kind of a stocking cap, sort of. I don't know. He thinks it's pretty cool, whatever it is, and it's got a big old pom-pom up here on the top. Okay, so there's oh, and then down here, this is a ribbed, you know, it's got to have ribbing so you can get it on over his big fat head. You can stretch it on over his big fat head. Okay. Put a pipe in any of their mouths. Yeah, some of them, but it's been a while. The thing you got to remember is if you put a pipe in their mouth or something, you got to be able to, and you're going to take it off of the sheet, you got to cut it out, you know, and then you got that little thing to try to worry about how to glue it down and stuff. And so I tend probably not to do that as much, but you certainly could. You certainly could. Let's do this one and this one, and then we'll call it a day, okay? All right, so this guy right here, he's got on a beret, you know. It's one of those beret kind of hats. And so we're going to kind of give it a little texture in here. This one will need some white used on it. Otherwise you won't be able to see it. But it's okay. We got the general idea, okay? He's got a beret on. Okay, so he's got a side profile. And he's got, for whatever reason, he's got a mustache and a goatee. And here's his ear right there. And then he's got on, I'm going to picture this as kind of a smock, you know. You know, a painting smock, you know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm picturing that like. It could have a string tie on too, I'm not sure. Okay, so that's that guy. This character here, we don't know what he is, but we're gonna detail him a little bit. These are an insane amount of fun, you guys. An insane amount of fun. So I highly recommend that you spend some time building yourself some relatives. Yes, I do. And I totally suggest that you do that. Make yourself a family. We don't know. I think this is a guy, but I'm not entirely sure. He has a monocle on. Back of his head. He has a neck. He is on a turtleneck sort of thing. He's very fat. Doesn't look like he would be, but he's a pretty good sized guy. We'll emphasize that by making his buttons come down over his big fat belly. And then he's got flowers stuck in his hat band. So he's got 2 flowers and a feather. And I think he is a character. Elton Faye, stop yourself. Stop yourself. All right, so there's our character, and that is, doesn't she looks like she's got something terribly wrong with her, but that's probably how I felt last week. I felt like I looked like that last week. All right, and so there are our characters. These two are, when you get them this close together like this, it's hard to cut them out. So you kind of have to be a little careful when you don't draw them quite this close together, because then you're going to have to cut them out. But, you know, it would be fun to have this one. You can take the littler ones and you can put them together on the same card. This one doesn't look, you can't tell, but he's got on a you know, one of those hats. Where's my original? Here it is. He's got one of those party hats on. The graphite didn't show through. And some of the graphite on her dress and stuff didn't show through. But you just kind of have to make it up as you go. Anyway, there you go. You guys, we have relatives ready to detail and cut out for a new set of cards. We have some other cards that we did, just, you know, making it up as we go along. They're just fun. They're easy. Just don't get too involved with working, you know, making yourself, don't get hung up in perfection, okay? That's the thing. Perfection is highly overrated. Indeed. What is it Dina Wakely says? Done's better than good. Good. Done's better than perfect. That's it. No. And Rhonda, no. No glitter. Elton, you need to bite your tongue, boy. All right, in case you all don't know, that is my new husband in the chat, Elton Faye, a.k.a. the Studley Duck. All right, I will be back. Hopefully, Lord willing, I will be back on Monday night at 7 Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. We have gone through time change, time warp. So, you know, do the magic to figure out when that is. You found me today, so if you too have experienced the time warp called time change, Figure it out, and I'll see you Monday, okay? Thanks for being here, you guys. It is good to see you guys, and I will see you again before you know it. So remember to get creative today, because you know it is, in fact, easy. See you next time. Bye for now.